expecting plus 200,000 for October.
If it is good news, I'm looking for them to rip it down to yesterday's close first before they go back up. If it's good news. But you weren't here yesterday. Look at that massive rip. Look at that. That's why you don't want to be in the news. You don't want to be trading.
261,000. The estimate was plus 200,000, plus 261,000.
Goodness.
S&P futures volatile here now, dropping. Private non-farm payrolls 233,000 versus 200,000 expected. The unemployment rate up slightly to 3.7% versus the 3.6% estimate.
So that gap to fill has been filled. Now we got the one above us. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Man, look at that massive rip. It was better than expected. But that's what I was saying before it came out, before you were here, that I was looking for that, fill that gap before we make that ride up. Because we got the gap above us now.
That's a nice rip right there.
Yeah. And that's why I tell you guys,
reporting 13
stay out of the markets prior to that news.
The estimate was a loss of 3 cents. Uniform Whiskey Michael Charlie.
Like I said, I'm still looking for that upside potential today. Especially now that we filled that gap. Like, I want to trade this right now, but I just don't. I want to wait for this bar to close and see if we can find some common ground.
UX Starbucks getting a pop to the high, 89.63, up almost $5 now, following their earnings report yesterday after the close. Axios reporting former President Trump in a circle is discussing announcing launch of a 2024 presidential campaign on November 14th.
I'm kind of watching this here for that. It's just too early to tell what they want to do. But I would be looking. I'm more interested in going long today. I think we could see some nice potential to continue that kind of slow grind back to the upside. But anywho, there's the news. I'm not sure if you guys marked off your no trade zone today. We had one appear. I set it up just like this. You got your highs, your lows with your no trade zone. And remember, you're looking to measure this into equal parts. And your no trade zone is going to be the 50% in the middle. So you have 25%, 25%, 25, and 25. This 50% is your no trade zone. And you're looking to capture the tops and the bottoms. to set up your no trade zone. Tell you, these people got robbed up here, and it's just as easy as being patient and waiting on the candle to close outside, right? Plus that candle.
Yeah, totally. When I set up I set up my just like you did. It looks exactly the same. That's cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I just marked these off for the downside, but like I said, we already filled that gap. You know what I'm and remember, the market always likes to do what? The bears will always want to retest, and the bulls, likewise, will always want to retest a high, right? So you always have to remember that, and that's what I said before the news came out, that I was looking for that move, you know, that double bottom back to the upside. So now we got that gap filled, and now we just have the gap above us. Do we have a gap above us? I don't know. What is this gap from? Is that a gap? I don't even remember now.
Yes, it was a gap.
Okay. I don't know if I had it there for training or what. But I would not be looking to buy this because look at where it started, right? All the way down here. With big bars going up to it. Alright, so I would not be looking to buy that breakout. And I know my screen is a hot mess right now. But I definitely think we'll have the potential to fill yesterday's gap. And continue that upward movement. And that's why you don't chase them, right? But remember, bars starting all the way down at the bottom, right? Even though they're powerful, they're most likely not going to be able to hold a breakout of a range. But with this is a little different situation because we just had that news. But again, 3 bars is usually your norm. 4, sometimes 5 is kind of rare. So anyhow, let's go look back here. These were the ranges from yesterday. This was yesterday's little range.
Today's range is pretty big.
Huh?
I said today's range is pretty big.
Yeah. That it is. But I don't remember what time I got here. But I think it was right in this area. But if you look at the price action here, even going into 8 o'clock, you know, the average true range was $7. So I'm like, there's no point in even trying to trade that because, you know, they're just going to come right after your stop loss. So there's just no point in trading. And then we were waiting on this news this morning. So we just got that news. You know, the market's kind of finally...
A bridge in a loss of 39 cents, missed the 2020 of 21 cent estimate.
Let me shut
Sales
them off
of
now.
296.62, beating
But again,
the
it still is. You still want to
294.14
treat this as a range until we
Delta,
break out of
Bravo,
it
Romeo, Golf, DBRG.
or below it. But again, you know, now the odds are I think we're going to come back up here and retest, these
WMC
areas. Like I
continuing
said,
higher here,
there's no reason for the
reporting
market to
earnings.
sell off here,
moving above the
Smart
330
money
level,
is not going to be looking
up
to
around
sell
8.5%
down at these
for
prices
Uniform
that we're at.
Whiskey
And
Mike
yesterday,
Charlie,
we pretty much
UWMC.
just consolidated the whole morning, and then we broke to the downside last night. But again, you got that 1-2, right? Fake out right here, and then we just slowly grind it up all night. So with the news not being that bad, better than expected. One is a little worse, but I think we're gonna definitely see some moves to the upside today. But it's Friday, and also it's below average trading right now. So we really just want to be patient if we're gonna trade. But I'd rather just focus on the range right now. Do you guys have questions about the range? How to find it, how to set it up? Were you able to set this up this morning on your own? Like when you come to I got here at this time and I identified this, and this, so I drew my range. And it respected it going forward into the future.
Yeah, I have been able to. And the other thing is important. What you're teaching us is to update the range. Like in other words, as you're trading, as the day goes by,
What's that?
as the day develops, zones develop.
Right.
You have to update and edit.
Like today, what I'm looking for, is that break and then the retest of our zone, and then up to fill that gap. All right, but we're just gonna have to see how the volume plays out. This bar right now actually has more volume than any of the bars today so far, which is really odd. This current bar, but I'm looking at my Thinkorswim setup, and you know what I noticed today? I don't know how I never noticed this on here, but this right here will tell you what your net long or short from the day before. So right now we're $60 higher than yesterday's close. I was looking at it this morning. I was like, that's weird. But Thinkorswim has the same thing. I just never paid attention to this on here. So when you come in, and this is green or red, you can know how far away you are from yesterday's close.
Nice. Good info.
So do you have any questions on the range or anything like that?
I mean, you pretty much really did a good job this week explaining, the range and also, where to trade and not to trade outside in the range. So I don't really have any questions this week on that.
All right.
So just what I do, I lied. I do have a question. So once you set up your daily, your 4 hour, your 1 hour, you pretty much don't have to update that. Is that correct?
Right. It just depends. Like, if we come and we start breaking these levels, well, then you're going to want to go now readjust everything according to today's information. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But on the higher time frames, no, because those levels are always going to be there. And I don't know why.
S&P 500 futures up
I don't have any
around 0.5%
on here.
after that unemployment report, moving lower, then higher now, steadying around the 37.40 level at 37.43 and a quarter.
And this is why these candles do that. This is a really easy time for them to grab everybody's stop losses on news, And that's why the market always does that. It'll rip up, and then it'll rip down, or it'll rip down, and then it'll rip up. And all they're doing is grabbing everybody's stop losses and clearing the table. So that's all that is just, them stealing your money. They'll come, look where they came down, right? They made sure they came down and cleared out everything, anybody that was long. And then in the next 6 minutes, anybody who was short, they did the same thing. They came all the way up to here to take out everything to the left of it. So, yeah, yesterday the power went out again. They had to replace the pole behind the house. I was sitting here and everything shut down. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I go outside and there's like 20 trucks out there with their equipment putting a new pole in behind the house. But it was good because the power lines were leaning on our roof still, and they never did fix it, so they fixed that yesterday too. So that was good, but I don't know, because I don't really want to talk about anything else right now other than the range, because I don't want to confuse you guys. Day 7 of the boot camp is pretty much done. I just got some little last touches on it, but that's just basically covering the 20 and the 200 for right now. And then because you have to understand that and the relative strength index to understand how we're going to trade the channels. So I don't really want to start teaching that now. If you're good with the range, then next week, I think we'll just start going in and talking about the 20 and the 200 again. Because that's actually going to be day 7 with the RSI. Because, again, we can't talk about the channels until you understand the 20 and the 200. And you should have a good knowledge of that. But, like I said, it's also a strategy in and of itself. The 20 and the 200. Just trading those is, you could do that all on its own without anything else.
Yeah, I think you took time this week and went over, the no trade zones. So I think that helped most of us. I don't know, can't speak for anybody else, but I know it definitely helped me out. I know pretty much where to put them, 50%, and then to make my Sahaikanashi candle marks above and below. Doji. Above and below.
Yeah.
And then for the beginners, 8:30 to 9:30, so no trade zone unless it's above or below. I'm ready for the next step. I think it sounds great. One thing you said yesterday was, when the 20 and the 200 together, they don't like to be together. So I'm interested to learn more about that than what I know.
Right. No, you see here, whenever they're going to be together, you're 99 to 100% of the time you're going to be in a range. Whenever they're together, right? When they're together like that, when they're flat, you're going to be in a range. So here they're flat and you're in a range, right?
Yeah,
and when they get expanded, you're always going to look for that pullback. When they get overextended, you got to expect a pullback because they don't like to stay away from each other. But now notice, because once we get into the channels, right, like I said, there's only 2 things the market can do. That's it. It can either channel, right, or it can range. But within the range, like here, we're channeling, right? We're in a broad channel, but inside the channel, there's many ranges and channels. That's all the market can do. It can't do anything else. You might look like it on the smaller time frame, but what you got to do is zoom out so you get the overall big picture of that range or channel, right? So even though we're in a channel, we actually are in a range as well, right? So we're in a channel, but we're also in a range.
Right.
So that's really going to should put everything together.
A channel and a range and a no trade zone.
Yes. So now this candle broke out, and it was in a good area, and your stop would be right here. And it would have just got hit on that. But I wouldn't have took that anyway. We're right here at the bottom of the 50% mark. So that wasn't a good trade to take anyway. You see that? Because remember, we want to be, the best breakouts are going to come in this area, the top 25%. Coming from the 50% line, and I didn't see that at first, but coming from all the way down here with just 1-2 bars, you know, that's what's going to happen. Right? Remember, when you're looking at an area like this, when you're trying to trade a breakout, you need the price to be trading up here, right? Now, why didn't this one work? Well, it never closed outside of it, for one. You know what I'm saying? But why didn't it hold? I don't know. But we would have never traded it because we never closed outside. And that's why we, you know, have that rule. It has to close outside. And the ones that are going to work are going to form in this area, right? When they're in the 50% mark, you're looking for a setup, right? Now you're paying attention if we're trading in that 50% and we're not breaking it, right? Because the trading in the 50% is typically going to lead to trading in the top 25%. So from here, that's the breakout you're going to want to take. Like right now. But again, I don't like, even though it is that, you know, that 1-2 pullback. What time is it right now? It's 9 o'clock. I don't know. Again, we got light volume. I don't know why some Fridays are just light volume. And today is one of those days. But like I said, I'm looking to fill that gap up above us, but we could do it now. Sure, we could, but I think the odds would be better when after the bell. I just personally don't like trading the big bars, on a breakout. I'd like to see the smaller, the little candles, you know what I'm saying? And then as it goes slower and slower, those are the ones I want. I just don't trust these big bars. I mean, it is in the right zone now, right? The momentum is to the upside, right? But
SNTG, Centage Holdings, shares seen more session highs have been rising since around 7 a.m., up 83% above the 550 level at $5.60 for Sandy November Tango Golf SNTG.
Let me shut him off.
So you're always setting up your trade zones on a 2-minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Always. If you come all the way out here on the 15-minute, technically,
Benzinger market update, the S&P futures up
this is
32,
another
the
zone
Dow futures up
on the
206,
15-minute,
Nasdaq
right?
up 104.
The bigger zone
Crude
within the
is
zone.
now up more than 4%.
But
at
this broke a few times, but
$91.78.
you could look at it
Gold
as
up
one
28.50
one
at
big range.
1659.30. Bitcoin futures up 420 at 20,705.
But this is what I want you to get used to identifying. Just what we're seeing here right now. This one would have definitely not been a trade because it started down here, right, with two big bars. This one, I don't trust the big bar right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling it. And that all comes back to just, I don't know, like when you like I always say about with your car, when you feel, your car, you could just feel stuff that doesn't feel right, And right now it just doesn't feel right. Like with the volume being so low right now, you know what I mean? It's just, even though, my overall direction today is to come up. All right, that's what I'm looking for today. But I'm just not feeling it at this time. The volume is very light.
That's it right there. Yeah, the volume. Yeah.
The volume's light. This one failed. This one failed. Right? This one failed. So... And now you're getting that divergence on your RSI. But, if it does break, it's going to be a massive move. And you know why, right? Right here.
Yeah.
This is why it's going to be a massive move. Because you got so many people stop losses up there. Well, that's the other thing. This one took all those stops out, so there's really nothing there anymore. I don't know why I didn't think of that till just now. So that's why these moves aren't even working, and I guess that's why I'm not feeling it. Because all the stops are gone. So there's no fuel for this fire right now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know how I didn't even notice that.
But according to, if we just look at the chart and look to our left, and we were trying to surmise basically direction, not that we're going to do anything. It's definitely to the upside. Is it correct? According to the left?
What's that?
The expected move would be to the upside.
Right. I'm looking to at least today to come and fill this gap, to close that gap. Right. But I think if we look left here, I think that gap is 10.9. It's somewhere right in here, but it's right up here where we're at. So are we going to recover this whole loss? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I would imagine if we're going to move to the upside, we're going to come at least to here to fill that gap. And then this is going to be our next area where we're going to want to look for that, like that 1, 2, you know what I'm saying? And it could even work out like this, 1, 2, and then break out. But this is going to be the next area where we're going to run into, are we going to have a day like the other day where we had no news and the market just ripped and blew through every zone like it wasn't even there? You know what I'm saying? But we're in that area. Like I said yesterday, that's why I wasn't looking for the downside, because, we're in that area again where there's just nothing really there to keep the market going lower, right? They're not going to want to sell their positions down there. And if they're really going to sell them, like I said yesterday, they're going to want to bring it back up so they can sell, right, at a better price. And that's the one thing that most traders fail to understand, because they're not thinking like smart money. Smart money is not going to want to sell it down here. They're just not, Any way you look at it, they're not going to want to sell at that low price. Remember, think of the smart money as, like I said, car dealers, right? They want to be buying their cars down here, but they want to be selling them up here, right? They want to buy wholesale, sell retail. So they're not going to be looking to sell down here. And again, we have that news next Thursday, which is what we're waiting on, the CPI data and the inflation rate. So, until then, we could see a nice move to the upside today. Sure, we could. But the closer we get to next week, the market's just going to kind of do its normal, ranging until we get to that news. So even going here, like you already saw on the bigger time frame, we're in an overall range, right? So that's all we've really been doing is just bouncing back and forth. Right?
Ranging. I would just popped out of it. Yeah. But here comes some move.
And this is how they like to do it, right? They want to buy down here and sell up here. That's the smart money way. So looking at that range, what's going to cause them to? Why would they sell down here? All this is on the higher time frame is the double bottom, and now we're looking for the reversal, right?
Yeah.
So let me.
So, just a question. We're going into the weekend. Some of us have time to really devote, for the weekend for study. Is there anything in particular you want us to really hone in on for the weekend so we're nice and strong in those areas for next week?
Just, if you can, just make sure you have this down 100%. Trade zone with the range, right? Because next week I really want to start working on the 20 to 200 and getting you familiar with how to actually trade that, right? Because when we trade these channels, it's going to be very important for you to understand that. All right, the 20 and the 200 plus your relative strength. So that's kind of going to be the day 6. Really, all I talked about is the 20 and the 200. I mean, day 7, and it should be done today. So once that's done, that should be plenty of information in there to get you to understand it. But I still want to cover it for at least a week, so then we have videos to match the lessons. But in order to talk about the channels, you have to understand the RSI and your 20 and your 200.
So really, we get our economic calendar, do our pre-market setup, the ranges and channels, and make sure we look left and be ready for next week.
Yes.
Okay. One area I really need clarification is when we're trading. You set your trade and stop loss. I guess the brackets.
If you come right up here, you just click on this button right here.
Okay.
And then it's going to give you ticks, delta price, or value. Value is a dollar amount. So you put your take profit and your stop loss, and then you just save it, and then you just turn this to on, and now when you enter a trade, it's automatically going to be there. Your take profit and your stop loss. So in order to do that, you want to look at your range, right? And the best you're going to be able to do is look at your average true range for your stop loss. So if the average true range down here, well, now it's $30, but that's a big stop loss. But you'll have to respect it, But that's why you want to, if you get a massive bar like this, you don't want to trade that because it's going to make your stop loss be massive, $60 stop loss, and you don't want to do that, right? But what you can do, like I said, is have your order ready. Like, click right here, put buy. Now you see now it does my stop loss and my take profit.
Right.
So now when that candle would close, I would just move this right there, and then I can quickly adjust my stop to bring it right underneath the candle, right? And then you can move your take profit as well. So by having this ready to go somewhere away from that area, right? Then as soon as that candle closed like that, right, you just come up here and boom, drop your price and everything's ready to go. And then you just adjust your target, your stop loss.
All right, so it all moves together. Just make sure you adjust your stop loss. Do you have a suggested profit target for us at this time? You're looking for us to make 25, 40?
Well, this is what... Remember, this is why I'm putting all these lines on here. These things drive me nuts, but it's good for you guys to learn because this is where you're looking for price to come. All right, so this range right here, $40 to $60, all right, that's a $20 potential $20 that it will move up. Okay, right? So when we break out of the range, we have the potential to move up $20. So don't be greedy when you're first starting. Take half of that. Take a $10 win, which would be a $20 profit. Right? Don't get greedy and try and capture the whole move because that's never guaranteed. Right? So if you look at price here, all right, notice that price respected this level several times. Then it broke. Then it respected the next price level. Now it's respecting this price level. Right? It blew right through this one. But this is why you have these, because it will give you an idea of where you should be taking your profit. Don't try and capture the whole move coming out of a range, right? Again, and we're not talking about buying and holding for the day. We're going to get to that eventually, in the boot camp as we go on. But right now, this is just for the range.
And those price targets were based on
the left.
The left.
If you come back here, these are all from Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, they're not. Is it? 11/3. When did the market sell off? Today's only the 4th. Oh, yeah, so these are from yesterday.
Right.
You see how I got them?
Yes, I do.
And that's all you got to do. And then they're always going to, respect them. Like, you might get that rogue one that'll blow through one whole price, but for the most part, it's going to, respect each level. right? It'll stop there, pull down, then head up. Stop there, pull down, then head up. So now, we almost filled the gap already. So now look how much we are now. $163 net long. So now we have a huge gap to fill below us. Right now here's the kicker to today's gap, okay? With that amount of a gap below us now, because if you look at it, the gap to fill below us now, okay, is this big, right? That's a huge gap, right? It's this big. So, with that said, it's Friday. We have that news coming out Thursday. We might not fill this gap until that news comes out, right? Typically, it's 24 to 48 hours where it will come back and fill that gap. But remember, there was no need for them. There was nothing to cause the market to go down. Like I said, they were not going to be selling at these prices, okay? So, now that we're this far down, are they really going to bring it down before next week? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? To me, it doesn't. Right? I don't think we're gonna see this come all the way back down and give up all this that we're at right now because of what's happening next Thursday. Right? Like I said, they're gonna want to bring this thing up and then dump it on everybody on Thursday. So this is a perfect setup, right, for them to do that. It would be in their benefit to leave this gap, right? So, just keep that in the back of your mind. If we don't fill this today, I don't think we're going to see this again until Thursday. I don't think we're going to see this gap get filled till after that CPI and inflation number. Because like you saw Friday, we lost, 500 points? 600 points? So, if we go back up now, up that 500 points and reclaim Friday's high, well, now we're in that area where they want to dump it again, right? And if they can do this, if we can get 200 points today, right? And then Monday we just kind of slowly grind up for another 100 points. And then Tuesday we pull back, right? And then Wednesday we go up 200-300 points. Well, now we reclaim that 500 points. And when that number comes out bad, down we go another 500 points. Right back to fill this gap.
It just went up to that support, which actually switched up to resistance, and it just went up to the highest price target. Tapped it and cut, and it looks like it might be coming back down.
This one right here. Yeah, I don't think I have this chart actually set up right. All I did this morning was this. I didn't touch these levelers, look for any new ones. Remember we drew these lines yesterday? And I don't think I really did much, but I need to go in there and do that. So now what I'm looking for now is we broke. Let's get that retest, right? And then come back up. Now is this retest guaranteed? No, but since the gap is so big to fill, I think we have, the odds are in our favor to at least come down here. If not, come right back down to the top of our range and then go up. But as far as filling this gap today, I don't think the odds are in our favor, right? They're not going to want to come all the way back to sell what they've been, because you got to be thinking they've been buying this whole range, right? This whole range. They've been buying and buying and buying and buying, right? Because, when you see this at the overnight hours, right? In this time frame that the market just slowly grinds up, there's nobody trading to cause that. So that means they're slowly putting money back into the markets, right? Little by little by little, right? And then what do? They let it come back and test it, right? Are people going to buy in with us, right? So little by little, they're adding to their positions down here like we talked about yesterday. So I don't, in my opinion, we're not going to come back down here to fill this gap until next week. Because it's just not, there's no reason for them to come back down here. You know what I mean? If they've been adding and adding and adding. Yeah, we had that big liquidity grab, but that's all it was. That was not selling or anything. That was just computer generated liquidity grabs. You know what I'm saying? So It's not like they sold out all their positions to cause that to happen. That's just an algorithm doing what an algorithm does, right? So,
So we're also gonna, you also want us to put our 8:30 to 9:30 box up, right?
yeah, it's going to be huge today. But again, on a day like today, right? I mean, this is our box. Well, no, that's not even our box. This would be our box so far. But like I said, the odds, the probabilities, they're going to want to bring this market back up for next week, right? Because if they just kind of range it around here sideways, how are they going to make money when they dump it all on Thursday, right? It doesn't make sense. So what makes logical sense is that they bring it back up, right? To prepare to sell it off on Thursday. And if the news comes out good, well, then all they're going to do is just add to their position, right? Remember what I was talking about yesterday, where, if they have, let's just say they have $1 billion and they just start, and right now they're just putting in, 250 million to bring the market up, right? And then once they pull it back, they might add another 250 million, but they'll use half their position. And then if the news comes out good, well, then they'll put the rest in at a higher price, right? That is okay. But for this to keep going and selling off, they're not going to want to sell it off at the prices that we're at right now. So for this, we've already double bottomed. You saw it on all the time frames, and that's done. That's behind us now. So now we're looking for that continuation to the upside, right? Because again, the odds are not, and even though whenever we're 100% net short or net long, the odds are always going to be in your favor to go back to close that gap. But it comes back to real estate, right? Location, location, location. We are in a location now where there's no need for the market to really come back and fill that gap below us, right? Because it's so low and the market is always forward thinking, right? It already knows when it's going to come back on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to be in a rush to come back down here to fill this gap all the way down at the bottom, right? I mean, that gap is all the way down here. So does that make sense to you? Right? I mean, what would cause this to come all the way back to this area right here today? In my opinion, absolutely nothing. The train has already left the station, right? It has places to go. It has dollar amounts to see, right? Money's been being added in this definitely overnight, right? It's definitely was getting bought up overnight in the overnight hours. You know what I'm saying? I mean, money was being added. Retail traders are not going to move the market up like this in the middle of the night. So the algorithms have already begun buying. All right, so there's no need. They're not going to come back and sell it all the way down again unless they want to, add more position to it. But, when you've been doing this so long, you just get a feel for it and you understand how the whole operation is set up to work. So, like I said, the higher probability would be to, we're already getting that second leg, all right, if you're looking at the legs, right? Remember, the market always makes moves of 2 or 3, so even if no, I don't want that. So let's just draw the measured move here and see exactly what it would be. So there's 1, there's 2, so your third leg takes you right up to this price target, right? So being that we're so close to the bell, 15 minutes, right, I could see us pulling back into this area easily, all right? They're not going to want it to be 100% net long going into the open. Now, could they? Sure they could. They could rip like we saw the other day. Remember last Friday? We didn't even look back. We just kept ripping. All right, we can see that again today. We definitely have the potential. But this is going to be the third leg right here. Right, we already have that area marked off. And isn't it amazing how the legs, always extend to certain areas? But, that's going to be probably day 8 of the boot camp, measuring legs. And when you're measuring legs, that's where you're going to start getting those, where you're going to be looking for your bigger profit targets, right? Where you're going to be looking to capture $50, $60. So one contract, $120, right? So once we get into the measured moves, that's where we'll start talking about buying a contract for, several minutes to several hours possibly, right? Because depending on the direction and the strength of the market, right, we can actually consider it, like one big leg for this, and then we could double it for this. So 2 legs, right? There's many different ways to break down legs and measured moves. So when we get there, we get there. Hey, I could type on here? You gotta be kidding me. I never knew that. Cool deal. Huh, I wonder if they just updated it or I just never paid attention. Alright guys, so that's my game plan, right? I mean, if you're going to be trading, look for that pull back to this area before we come up. Now, when we get here, it could do one of these, right? For a minute or two and then break through. But notice how I drew that with your higher lows, right? Look for that pattern for the breakout. These are all patterns you have to get used to and identifying, right? You always have to expect that 1-2 pullback, and it's never going to be identical to 1-2 pullback, right? But that's what you're looking for, right? And as you come up to these areas, you're looking for that, 1, 2, 3 with higher highs, right? Treat it like a range, the top part of the range, right? The breakout is going to come the lower you are, right? Or the higher you are. So even though you're not in a range, treat it like a range like this, all right? Now we're making a higher low, right? It's almost identical to what I was just drawing. But you see that, right? It'll come and then it'll come up and then it'll come up. Then you're looking for the breakout. The higher up you go, closer to that area, the more powerful your breakout's going to be. So we're looking for that measured move up to here. And again,
Well, it kind of looks like a bull flag.
What's that?
I said it kind of looks like a bull flag forming.
No, a bull flag is going to form like this. You're going to have your pole, and it's going to form like this. Down. It would look like that. And the same thing with a bear flag. A bear flag is going to look like that. It's going to retrace, right? So a bull flag would look like this.
It would have to come down more then. Mm-hmm.
Right, it would come down more. I mean, it sure does look like a flag, right? I mean, if you drew one of those like wavy flags, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It does look like a flag, but you don't want to get them mixed up because, like I'm saying, I'm much more comfortable with this pulling back down than I am buying this up here, right? Unless we see the strength we saw on Friday. But again, your 8:30 to 9:30 time frame, okay, is huge right now. So I'm definitely not looking for, this to reclaim, all of that, right? But to come back down in here, yes, I can see that easily happening. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to have everybody 100% net long and rip it up. But they did that one Friday, and you'll get days like that, right? You can't rule those out. You know what I'm saying? But now what we're seeing here, is we're starting to build that wall of resistance, right? 1 candle, 2 candle, 3 candle, right? We're getting that flat top wall. But sometimes when we get that, we'll get this little triangle forming and then it'll just shoot right up. I actually like looking for that pattern sometimes. But when it's forming like this, I don't know if I would trust it. But you'll get this like flat top little wedge pattern forming. And typically those will produce really big bars, again, because you have so many people trapped right here. You have all these stop losses. Mm-hmm. And you'll learn all these things, and I'll always bring up the patterns as we see them. You know what I'm saying? And I'll show you. But just always remember, with the bull flags, they form down.
Okay.
So that's what it'll look like. I mean, the bull flag and the bear flag, if we were going down, is going to form up and then continue to leg down. But we do have strength, but, we're seeing that divergence already. in the RSI. But now, you know, it's 9:19 right now. Right, 20 minutes to the bell. Again, I would be looking to buy this, but I want to make sure we hold it. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm bullish today. There's no doubt about that. I was bullish yesterday, and just like we said yesterday, you know, the odds were better for it to kind of just grind, right? Just slowly grind around. But clearly today, we've already had some major bullishness. So, you know, we could see a nice rip today. We really could.
Hi, Bang Bang.
Hey, good morning.
When you're talking about the divergence, does the price action follow that as opposed to is that what's taking over? You're looking for what direction divergence is going in?
Well, you're looking for divergence, and that's how you identify false breakouts in your ranges as well, because notice the price was making higher highs, but your relative strength was making lower highs. Okay, so that in and of itself should have told you never to even buy that candle, right? They break it out like that, and people who don't know how to, you know, use the tools properly, they'll just buy that candle, right? Oh, we broke out, and everybody's jumping in on that. Well, on a 1 minute chart, that probably had a green candle breaking out, right? That's why we don't use a 1 minute chart. Let's see if we have it on a 1 minute chart, what that looked like over here. No, and even on the 1 minute, it did not break out. So, but usually that 1 minute candle will look like a breakout. But you want to use your relative strength, you know, to help you determine, you know, is it going to break out? Is it going to hold, right? What are we looking for? Like even here, okay, notice the relative strength index from the bottom was making higher highs, right? The price here was kind of staying the same, and it kind of looked like divergence, but you had a breakout. You had a wedge pattern on your RSI. All right, and I'm starting next week, we're going to be discussing how to properly use your relative strength index in accordance with your 20 and 200. But just like, you know, we're looking here at price action, it's just remaining flat, but your relative strength is you got divergence any way you look at it. So to buy that breakout, you know, you shouldn't be looking to buy a breakout when your relative strength index is doing the opposite of what price is doing. That's, you know, giving you a clue, hey, most likely not going to work in your favor, right? But we're looking, you know, as long as price action is above the 50% line, you know, and look to your higher time frames as well. Now on a 30-minute time frame, look how strong the relative strength is, right? We barely broke under the 50% mark. That's telling you that we are in a very bullish trend right now. Okay? On the 15-minute time frame, we did break below it, but so did price, right? So did price. Now here, the lower you get, you know, the more of this you're going to get on the relative strength index. So to determine your strength, you want to look at the higher time frames. And as long as we're above the 50% mark, you should only be looking to go long. You shouldn't be looking to short. And vice versa, on the higher time frame, if it was trading below the 50%, the only trades you should be taking that day should be to the downside. Now, we're not there yet, and I haven't explained that yet, but that's all coming up this week.
Okay.
Because you have to understand how to properly use this, right? Like people think you just buy it when it's here and sell it when it's here, but you guys have already seen that it will do this for several hours, right?
Oh, yeah,
so you can't use that, right? You want to get your bigger picture and identify, are we going to be bullish today or are we going to be bearish today? And this is telling... Huh?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So the RSI is best, it's best to see what's going on with the RSI on the 15 and the 30 minute.
Right. Well, your high, like the 30 minute is perfect to determine, you know, are we buying today or are we selling, right?
When you're saying look at the 30-minute time frame, what I don't understand is what time of the day are you thinking, do you focus in on that 30-minute? Is it at open? Is it middle of the day? When do you determine
Anytime,
that?
because like here,
Okay.
right? So if you look at yesterday, you're just looking at this to get your, to help you determine which direction you should be trading. All right, so yesterday, notice that the RSI stayed below the 50% mark almost the whole day, right? And look at what happened. The whole day was, garbage. Now we're above the 50% mark. That's telling me we should only be looking to buy today. All right?
Okay.
So when your RSI breaks below the 50% mark, just don't trade. Don't look to go to the downside when this is telling you we're only going long, right? But just wait for it to make its way back up, okay? And then once it's up, now you're honing in on your higher time frame, right? You're waiting, right? It couldn't break below the 50% mark. That's giving you a good indication that price is going to continue to move up, right? So now on this one, you want this to be holding above the 50% mark, right? Whenever we get above the 50% mark, you want to be looking for your entries to trade. And where do you find those entries to trade? When we are above the 50% mark, the best trade you're going to get is when it touches the 50% mark for that retracement. All right? So notice like here, we came really close, and then look at the next bar. Boom. Right? Right here. Boom. All right? So there's a lot of information and moving parts, but this is why I'm starting off slow. We started with the range. Now we're going to jump into the 20 and the 200, and we're going to talk about the relative strength index. All right? But that's what I'm saying. There's so many pieces to the puzzle. I don't want you guys to get overconfident with any one thing, and then you'd be like, well, why didn't it work? And I'll be like, because you didn't have all the information. You know what I'm saying? So we're going slow. Little by little, the pieces of the puzzle will be put together to paint the picture. Right? And then you'll be able to assess. You'll be able to like I said, I don't have a crystal ball, but I have a lot of knowledge, and that's how I'm able to do what I do every day and say, hey, we're most likely not going to fill this gap below us, right? And here's why. The price is probably going to continue to go up, and here's why. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't have a crystal ball, but we pretty much nail it every day, right? I mean, I don't think we have seen a day where we haven't been almost spot on to the T, other than that last Friday where it just ripped. But those days, nobody can predict those. Nothing can predict that. Those are just like those rogue days. And again, it's not like I'm sitting here saying I'm better than anybody else, because I'm not. I just have knowledge, and I've studied this for so long. That's what comes with experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's constantly looking at it and listening to your thought process. Definitely, it helps. It's like learning a whole new computer program, So it's just a matter of over and over. So it's excellent how you're teaching Bang, really.
And that's why I keep repeating myself over and over and over again, because I really want you guys to understand it and grasp what I'm looking at, right? Because at the end of the day, you guys, our charts will be super clean. We're not going to need all of these lines everywhere, right? We might have our major support up here and our major resistance, our major support, right? Because as you grow, the need for all these baby step tools aren't going to be there anymore, right? You're not going to have to draw your range because you're automatically going to see it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be like, oh, here's our range. You might, maybe you'll just draw one line up top, and when it's going to break out, because you can already see that you're in the top 25%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all this is just for training purposes, to show you guys what I'm looking at, to get you guys to look left, right? To get you in the habit of that, because at the end of the day, our charts are literally going to have nothing on them but the 20 and the 200 and the volume weighted average price. You don't need anything else. All this is noise and confusion. Gives you too much to look at. But for training, right, it's excellent to show you how to identify where you're going to take profits, right? Where price is going to stop, right? Where price is going to stop. Look at this. It's literally that easy. right? People make trading so complicated because it's human nature, right? But it's a program, and programs, you know, are designed so they have specific areas and things they're going to do, right? So it's just it's amazing how simple trading is once you understand it and you have all the pieces to the puzzle. Like I said, all these indicators are lagging, but they'll give this is the only tools I would ever recommend out of everything out there, right? These are the most powerful tools, and they're going to give you the information that you're going to need, right?
So the
all these
and the average true range you're talking about?
Yes, the average true range, and I put this pound B on here because it kind of it reflects the projection oscillator, which I use on Thinkorswim. And look at our measured move. Look at right to our measured move, right?
Wow.
You see, because we had our first leg, our second leg, and we didn't change this. This was just the moves, and that's how you measure your legs. And look at that. I mean, right to it. Right to it. Just about right to it. And that's the power of measured moves and measuring legs in the market.
Right.
But again, slow, baby steps. We're going to work our way up to that. So this might have been the only retracement we're going to see. Right? We might come down now to retest this. But again, like I said, you know, the money was added overnight. So there was no need to come back and fill this gap until next week. Right? Now, could we, you know, could we just kind of do this number again, right? Just kind of grind sideways? Because we have today, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday till Thursday, right? So they're not just going to bring it straight up and hold it up there, right? They want to make money throughout the whole game, right? So here we have that pullback, so maybe we will come down here now. But this is the area that I think we would retest before we shoot up again. But remember, this is telling us we're strong, right? We should be looking to the long side to buy, right? This is still showing very strong. We're in the top 50%. So where should we be buying this? You know, as close to the 50% mark as possible.
Right.
But you want to just give it a few minutes and see, right? Remember, it's always going to want to do that one kind of two move. But I'm going to wrap it up. I still got this boot camp thing to work on. You guys got any questions for today?
Thank you, Bang Bang.
You're very welcome. And have a great weekend, guys. And I will see you again Monday. This should be ready. Day 7 should be ready today or tomorrow. And I'll have it up there. So if you're trading, you know, I guess we could possibly pull back to here. But I was thinking more of this area right here. So these are the two zones to the downside for that next leg up that you're looking if you're going to be trading this today. Anyway, have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.